What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Playmaker podcast. As always, I got my crew with me, Mr. MB, Matthew Balsley, Nate W. O. Zertz, my man, the Boul Nate, and Brady. He's always looking at me with a frown or a grin. Syrek, let's get him. All right, baby. So we had a lot going on this weekend, guys. Obviously, with the divisional round of the NFL. We have some playmakers to discuss. We have some giveaways to do. And we have a lot of in-between to go through game by game. So we're going to kind of start. Balls, I'm going to run it with you first. Who was your playmaker for the week?
Well, I was a week early on him because I went with him last week.
Yeah.
Just because I'm spiteful, I got to go with Robbie Gould again this week. I have to. Robbie Gould made Sunday football so enjoyable for me, knowing that Green Bay was knocked out of the playoffs, that I didn't have to worry about Aaron Rodgers maybe winning a title and coming back. Hopefully he decides to leave. But Robbie Gould, man, he's still perfect in the postseason. It was a toss-up, and, I'll give a shout-out to Evan McPherson, too, from the Bengals. Both weeks I thought about him as well because he really made some big plays, but I got to be spiteful. I hate Aaron Rodgers. I'm glad he lost. Robbie Gould's the reason why that happened. So
I know you hate Aaron Rodgers, but I have to ask because you actually had the Pickers picked to go to the Super Bowl, like a lot of us did. So it's awesome. Just an interesting take on the hate when you were rooting for him to get to the Super Bowl. You had him going to the Super Bowl versus the Bills.
If I'm going to pick, everybody on the board took the Niners. I thought the right play was taking the Packers. I would have bet the Packers too. But it doesn't mean I'm not glad that they lost.
No, I get you.
Maybe, hey, it's the Balsley curse, a little bit of reverse psychology on them. I took the Packers knowing if my pick lost,
maybe.
One in that, baby.
Maybe. I got to get this thing shared out, too. All right, Nate, what's up, big dog? Who is your playmaker for the week, my man?
So my playmaker for this week is one Gabriel Davis. Monster game, 8 catches, 201 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He set a playoff record with 4 receiving touchdowns. So no like Randy Moss, no like Terrell Owens, Larry Fitzgerald, no. Gabriel Davis, 4 touchdowns, NFL record. So you, sir, is my playmaker of the week.
Yeah, that's a good pick, man. And we'll get more into that game. Obviously, a lot to talk about the divisional games, but absolutely monster pick. Brady, talk to me, man. Where you at?
Well, firstly, I think we should give a shout out to all the kickers because every kicker made their kick this weekend. That was big for them. And coming from a team where not having a kicker single-handedly cost us our best season in a decade, I'm a little jealous of all those teams. But my playmaker
didn't Mr. Scoop miss? Was that the extra point or a kick?
Maybe it was an extra point. But Gay made his. Robbie Gould made his. McPherson made all his. So, and
what about Mason Crosby's one before halftime? How'd that turn out?
That's true. That's not really his fault. That's not his fault. All right, my playmaker of the week. I hate saying it, but Mr. Patrick Mahomes. Every time we talk on the podcasts about he's been struggling or the Chiefs have been struggling in general, and they pick it up the last 6 weeks, but I think he needed another moment like this. There were some people that were kind of starting to doubt a little bit. If this team had bowed out early, a couple years not coming up short, but he went out there 378 yards passing. 75% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns in the air, and then 69 yards and a touchdown on the ground. So obviously we all saw the plays at the end of the game, put him in a spot for a field goal, and we'll talk about that here. But it's hard to talk about Playmaker without talking about Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and you got to give it to him. But if the Bills would have won this game, you're most definitely going with Josh Allen here because Josh Allen actually did outplay Patrick Mahomes as I thought he would. If you looked at the numbers, Patty Mahomes was at a 123.1 rating. And, what was it? I got it written down here somewhere. Yeah. Patty Mahomes is at a 123.1, and I think Allen was at like a 131.8 or something. So, and through, I don't know. I mean, it was very similar, but it's kind of what I thought. It's kind of how it went. I mean, it's just, and we'll talk more about the overtime rules and everything else. That's how it happened. It went in their favor on the toss, and they got the W, which we'll pull some numbers and get into that later. But my playmaker for the week is going to be, now guys, I had Packers Bills, but if you guys remember the start of the season, I drafted Matthew Stafford in every team I could get him in at the start of the fantasy football season. I said the Rams were going to be a team that's going to be tough to beat, and they probably are going to get close to or maybe go. I was on them. I switched the Packers, seeing what the Packers were doing late in the season. I'm happy to see the Rams be there. I'm happy to see Matthew Stafford finally get that whatever off his back. And when we thought Brady was going to pull another Brady, Matthew Stafford flipped it on him and he pulled a Brady. So I got to give it to my boy Matthew Stafford. Dude went off, had the huge throw to Kupp to get him down there to get that field goal. 28 for 38, 366 yards and 2 TDs. His rating, I had it up here too, was, I forget, so let's see. I don't know, it was up there, but Brady, man, his quarterback rating was tremendous. He had an interception, he had a fumble. So as much as he brained that comeback, and that comeback I think was a lot personally induced by Mr. Cam Akers, obviously fumbling at the 1 and fumbling late in the game. So Packers suck, Clint says, and Clint's a Packer fan, so there you go. He says they suck. All right, guys, so we're going to get to the giveaways so we can kind of dive into the games and whatnot. But who's gonna discuss how people get this win this week? Who's doing it for me? Don't everybody jump at once. Brady?
I'll start.
All right, Brady, you do it.
Well, we're doing the giveaway.
Giveaways.
Yeah. So in order to be a part of the giveaway, after this video posts tonight, it should post a little bit after we're done with the show. Go into the comment section on the YouTube video and leave a comment, a question you have, a topic you want us to discuss, and that'll automatically enter you into next episode's $30 giveaway, which is so graciously provided by Deafness. And then when we start our show next Monday night, we will roll like we're about to right now, and you will be entered into have a shot at $30, whether that's PayPal or if you want to put it towards Deafness's auctions that he does Tuesday night. So,
all right.
Hey, and how about this for a comment this week? Put who you think's going to win this weekend's games. Yeah, who's going to win the conference games? There's your easy comment to get in. Just leave a comment.
Yep. So we have 2 to do because, again, guys, last week I was in Florida. It was kind of a on-the-run deal. I didn't have what I needed. I wasn't prepared for that. We didn't even know if we were going to do it, but we decided to go forth and do it last week. So I'm doing the week before's. This is the one we'll do first, and then we'll do the second one. And we're going to have to use a different wheel on the second one because I realized as I was trying to create another thing on a new browser, it would erase this one because it's the same wheel. So we have to use a different wheel website for the second one, which would be from last week. So I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to shuffle it 7 times. We're going to spin it. Whoever it lands on gets the 30. It's either PayPal or auction credit. Hit me up, DM me, whatever, and I'll get it over to you or put the credit on for you. Either way. So good luck, guys. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we go. Good luck, guys. Oh! Brady just pulls it out. Wow. Between Eric and Brady, that was close, man. And congratulations. There you go. All right. So the next one, same thing. We got the comments here. We got the ones we had. I do it up to when I get prepared for the stream. So if you guys do it after we go live, it wouldn't be added. So just make sure you get them in after the stream is uploaded before we go live. So here's the next one. I only have 4 different people that actually commented. Nate had like three comments in there, 3 different questions, topics, comments. So we're going to see how this works here. I don't even know. This is a different wheel. So we're going to shuffle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I think we just ready to spin. There we go. That's how it works. Easy peasy. Huddle card collection. Huddle card collection. My man Mike and Michael. Congratulations, guys. You get the second one. That's from last week. So, again, we appreciate you guys with your comments, questions. We're kind of falling off again. We need to kick it back in gear. As you're seeing, we only had like 4 different people on this week's, but it is what it is, man. Let's keep that thing moving. Let's keep it rolling. So I want to kind of dive into the MLB first. I want you to kind of start with this. Hey, Stafford pulls a Brady, and look what Brady starts wearing. We like it. Balls. Tell us what you want to tell us going into the MLB. A feel-good story.
Yeah, well, it was obviously, as there's been progression, the MLB's kind of got, a bad rap right now. There's, the labor dispute and whatnot. But shout out to my boy Cody Bittner. He hit me up, and I was gonna pick this as my playmaker, but I don't know if you guys saw that story, Jonathan India. If you didn't, go look it up. You'll find the video. It's easy to find. I do like you saying that, Clint. I saw that. But it's super easy to find, and it was a autistic, older, I would say male, probably in his 20s, 19, 20 maybe, younger, but an autistic man that was a big Cincinnati fan, and was at the Cincinnati game and ran into India, and they just so happened to talk, and Jonathan India, took a minute out of his day. I'm sure he had a bunch of drunk people coming up to him, and, it was maybe a difficult day, but it was awesome to see him take a moment out of his day and, make it worth it and make a memory for that person, offered him tickets to any game that he wanted to come to this upcoming year. And, he
literally told him in the video, he said, opening day, whatever you want, man, I got you. Just hit me up.
I just feel like a lot of times we get to hear, and it's a lot of the media, they like to do the doom and gloom with a lot of athletes. We hear about all the bad stuff, and this is a story that it probably got 15 seconds of play where, it made a lifetime of memories for one person. And I just thought it was really awesome. He was going to be my playmaker until Robbie Gould stole that. But, it was just a really good story to see. So,
well, it's I do want to say the fan's name was Patrick Kinman, and he there was a couple of news articles about it, but he came out and said afterwards that Jonathan India will now and forever be his favorite player of all time, and that's just one of those little things that you see athletes do, and a lot of times it goes unnoticed, because we hear about a lot of these athletes that do great things for their community. The one person that comes to my mind, specifically being a Cubs fan, was Anthony Rizzo and his kind of charity work with people with cancer, because he was a cancer survivor. So a lot of times we don't necessarily hear about all these players, but they do a lot of goods for their community. So it's nice for us to be able to highlight that when stories like this come along.
Absolutely, man. And anytime a player can make an impact, and it can be seen, and it's out there in the public, it's huge. It changed this kid's life forever. He's going to remember him. And that's, like Paul said, it's going to be his favorite player for the rest of his life, which is absolutely awesome. So another thing going on in the MLB is the Players Association plans to meet tomorrow, Tuesday. And it looks like both sides are somewhat leaning or moving in the right direction to an agreement. So this is some pretty big news. Again, it's good, and it's for it to happen, or even happen at all. It's good that it happened now when we're not even in spring training. We're completely off season. When this was first brought up a while back, we had mentioned it, and we kind of were like, hey guys, don't panic, don't freak out. It's so early. It's not even spring training. This is the owner's deal, etc. Things should get worked out. It's never a guarantee, but looks like things are heading in the right direction. So anybody want to add anything to that, really, or anything specific?
The biggest thing that I think maybe pushed it towards the deal is the players are giving up that service year. They were really going to fight against that. The kind of what happened to Chris Bryant in Chicago. They kept him in AAA for, I think, 9 games, so they wouldn't have to claim him for a service year. The players were really fighting hard against that, and it sounds like they're going to give that up, which at that point, I feel like the owners are going to kind of concede a little bit. I bet we have a deal real soon.
I agree. All right. Let's roll on in. We're gonna save the NFL games, obviously, for the end. That's kind of always our baby, especially this deep in the season. I want to touch a little bit on the NBA. Anthony Edwards, he just became the youngest player in NBA history to hit 300 points or 300. What was it? 300 points? Was it 300 points or 3 points?
It was during the threes.
Yeah. 303 pointers. So, guys, I mean, the kid's got a lot of talent. I mean, again, I'm not usually someone. I'm not a homie in a sense where I usually sit there and go, "Oh, this guy's the greatest and going to be the greatest." But I kind of saw that. I was saying that I felt like he has just some special talent, and there was a lot of talk even around draft time about who to take, who should be drafted. Does Anthony Edwards even really enjoy the game? Like, there was some talk, like this was actually in the draft talk about him not being a big, huge fan or having a love for the game. And all I see is this kid continue to improve on his game week in and week out. I mean, it's insane. If you guys haven't had a chance to watch him, you get a game where it's on the TV or something, wherever you're at, Wolves are on, just take a night to watch him, man, and just see how special this kid is. As long as he's playing, he is something else. He's incredible. If he can stay healthy, man, I mean, I have this feeling he could be one of these top players in the league. So another guy to talk about too is Darius Garland. He's been absolutely playing out of his mind with the Cavs as the Cavs continue to sit there in about the five spot in the Eastern, 28-19. Dude's had like double-digit assists, I think like 4 or 5 out of the last 6 games, 20-plus points. I mean, absolutely insane. Right now in the standings in the Eastern, we're sitting with the Heat at the top, 30-17. We got the Nets, 29-17. The Bulls, our Bulls, we love to talk about on this pod. They're sitting 28-17, Bucks 30-19, Cavs 28-19, and I'm going to throw those 76ers in there for my boy Nate. Shout out to Nate, 27-19. On the Western, Suns 36-9, Warriors 34-13, Grizzlies 32-17, Jazz 30-17, Mavs 27-20, Nuggets 24-21. And I'm just going to slide the 7 on in there this time because my Wolves are sitting there number 7, 23-23, as we talk a little Anthony Edwards and the big three coming together. They're really starting to gel, man. It's fun to see these stats that they're putting up night in and night out. But let's talk a little bit on the Bulls. Let's talk a little bit on the whole, where does the team go? What do we do, right? With the injury stuff, how long are we talking with the man out?
I'm just so sad. It'd be one thing if this team wasn't playing well and losing games, but for just some of the freak injuries they've had has just been just disappointing. And you have, luckily they got Zach back tonight, but Lonzo's out 6 to 8 weeks. You have the pretty dirty play from Grayson Allen that made Alex Caruso break his left forearm or left wrist. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. Obviously, Pat Williams has been out the entire year. So it's been rough. And I think at this point, the Bulls have given themselves enough comfortable in the standings to be able to ride this out for a couple weeks. And at this point, you're just hoping to be healthy by playoff time. And I will say right now that if they end up being a 6 or 7 seed, that whoever that 1, 2, or 3 seed will not want to see the Chicago Bulls. I guarantee you that. because this is a team, when they were healthy, they were 3 games up in the East as the number 1 seed. And so wherever they end up, it's to be seen still, but that's the caliber this team can play to. And I don't want to see them in the first round of the playoffs if I'm one of those top seeds.
No, I agree. I mean, again, the Bulls have been kind of that team we've all kind of attached to. I think Nate kind of has. I mean, he's a 76er fan. I'm a Wolves fan, but like the Bulls team and the chemistry and what they built, I think we're kind of rooting for the Bulls somewhat, especially over there on the East. Maybe a Bulls Sixers matchup so we can get a little smack talk when playoffs come. No.
I don't know. No? The Bulls are good. Like other Bull teams is gonna get the Sixers a lot of trouble. Like literally Sixers had to depend on Embiid to do everything like he's been doing this season.
We'll talk about Embiid doing everything. What was that? What night was that where he just absolutely completely went off?
Yeah, he had 50 points and 27 minutes against the Magic.
The highlight I saw, he was going all the way down the court like a point guard.
Yep.
Dribbling and stuff. He looked like he was playing the old Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, where you at, role? We don't need you, big dog. Get out of here type play. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Again, I think we still kind of sit there and wonder if Chicago is going to try to pick up another big man or do something for that front court. But yeah, all in all, we is good. So I want to dive in. You guys got anything else for the NBA?
Joel Embiid for MVP. We're starting the campaign right now.
There you go.
Right now.
There you go. And then I think they're going to probably be ranting for DeRozan for MVP.
Yeah.
He could be up there. One question Alex has too over here that's kind of into what we're talking about. Kobe White, he does play for the Bulls. I saw him playing the other night, or I saw a highlight of him or something.
I'm watching him right now. He's playing really well. Him and Ayo Dosunmu are going to have to step up with Lonzo and Caruso out.
Right.
So it'll be very interesting because there's a lot of people in Chicago that want to move Kobe at the deadline because they think that we're missing a bigger piece. And I just don't think you move a 20-year-old at the beginning of your competitive window. So I'm really looking forward to Kobe and Ayo stepping up because they're going to play a lot of minutes over these next 2 months.
Right. All right, well, let's just dive right into it, guys. We had freaking nothing but amazing football to watch all weekend. If you're a football fan, you were spoiled this weekend. You should be absolutely mind-blown with what you saw. Twitter was on fire every other minute, and during a lot of these games, there was things that people were like, what did I just watch? What am I just seeing? What is going on here? I mean, it was absolutely insane. I could not believe these games and how these things ended up. Let's start with the first game that was on Saturday. The Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. 19-16 ends up being a final score. Very low scoring game. Not just very defensive heavy, which what are you guys' thoughts on Cincinnati's defense? I mean, obviously they looked awesome this weekend. They've looked all right. Do you think their defense can stand the Chiefs' explosive offense?
Yeah, see that's a big question. I mean things like they face the Raiders. The Raiders offense isn't great. I mean, they got some playmakers on there, but not overly great. And then honestly with the Titans, they pretty much shut down Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry only had 3 yards to carry, so they pretty much forced Tannehill to throw the ball, and we saw what happened. Through 3 interceptions, looked bad for long stretch of the game. So, but if the Bengals can somehow get pressure on Mahomes, kind of forcing him to make his life more difficult, then they got a good chance because their offense is pretty explosive as well. So.
Man, I don't I'm still baffled, right? I'm still baffled. I honestly, my feeling was Tennessee was going to take that game in Tennessee. It just, since he shocked the world, man. Honestly, Joe Burrow with the glasses, with the little swag glasses and all the pictures they're creating and making of him wearing the little glasses and the different things he's doing. I mean, I don't know. I don't, as much as I want to see Cincy win, I don't think they can pull it off in KC. I don't think Cincy's the team Buffalo is. And Buffalo gave them all they had.
They just played them and beat them. So,
yeah.
I mean, that did happen. It's regular season. My thing is what I've been watching with Cincinnati, they have to be able to convert in the red zone. They're settling for too many field goals right now in the red zone, and you're not going to beat Kansas City with 3 points instead of 7. You have to score 7 repeatedly. Their defensive line's playing really good, but man, they cannot protect Joe Burrow at all. And luckily that guy's held on to the football, but he puts 2 of them on the floor, and it goes the opposite way, and all of a sudden you're talking 14 points maybe for Kansas City, 10.
Right.
We expect points if Kansas City's getting it, especially if it's a short field. So I'm really looking, if they're going to do it, they've got to convert, and they've got to have somewhat of a running game. They have not had a running game this playoffs, and
okay,
you've got to keep Mahomes off the field, and they're not right now. They're not doing anything that I would see favors them. But man, Burrow's on another level right now too. So
here's going back to the run game, going back to the Cincy Tennessee, the Titan game, right? I had to have the game. The game was on like almost mute because we had a family gathering going on. So we had it on the big TV, but we had a lot of things going on. So I didn't get to hear what was going on with Henry. But what happened? Why was he not, like they said he wasn't going to be on a snap count. They said he was going to be fine. Why was he honestly just not 100% or not feeling close? Did somebody say that during the game at some point when they're playing? Because why was he on the sidelines as much as he was? That baffled me.
He got 20 carries.
He didn't look healthy.
You need more than 20 carries. That is your primary offensive weapon on your team. That is your running back. That is your beast. That is how you guys have been winning a lot of your games. Yes, I know A.J. Brown's had some breakout games throughout the year. Julio Jones had been a ghost. I mentioned it Sunday morning that Julio was in a great smash spot for his price in DFS, and he actually came out and did pretty good. But obviously the turnovers were a big issue, right? Tannehill throws 3 interceptions. I mean, you obviously can't do that. But I just didn't understand. Henry needed more than that. And why during the regular season did they utilize Henry in the pass game this year, which they hadn't in any other years? And every time it was pass plays or pass downs, he was nowhere to be found on the field. I just don't get it.
Well, I think
this is to move on. You're trying to get to the Super Bowl here. This isn't stand back and just relax and go in whatever mode. And okay, yeah, we're just gonna go with Hilliard. And I mean, I get Foreman played great throughout the season when he's been out, and Hilliard helped out. But come on, man, are you guys really thinking that they utilized Henry as much as they should have in a divisional round playoff game?
I'd have to go back and look at his snap count. I wonder if it's one of those things where he was off the field a lot when he wasn't carrying the football, so it was very predictable to kind of predict. It was easy to be able to predict when he was going to get his carries. But I think the biggest thing you talked about, I think the biggest thing you talked about was Ryan Tannehill, who I think we all agree is a game manager, was forced to not be a game manager because they couldn't run the ball with Derrick Henry. And look what happened when he was forced to not just be a game manager. 3 interceptions.
How many carries did Foreman have?
Foreman had like 4 carries for 60 yards.
Yep.
See, and that's what doesn't make sense either, though. If you're not going to run Henry at least 5 to 6, 7 more times, get him up to his amount of carries, then you better have Foreman at about 6 to 8 carries. I feel like they underutilized him. He had that big one explosive run, and he brought a little bit of pop, a little bit of juice between the tackles, it felt like. And you can't lose the turnover battle and win. But
right.
It's just it did kind of baffle me too. But I didn't think Derrick Henry looked 100% to me either. It felt like he was good enough to go, maybe, but maybe he wasn't 100% game speed yet, and he just looked slower.
And that's what I was asking, because again, I couldn't have the game on, and I wasn't really reading into things or stuck to Twitter during that game because I had family, we had a gathering going on, but it just seemed to me like I kept saying to my son, I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Like, why is every time I look over, Derrick Henry's on the sideline when they're on offense and he's got his helmet off and he's just standing over there? Like, did he tweak something? Because there was one run where he got tackled. Like, one guy grabbed his leg kind of weird, and it almost looked like if he would have went the wrong way. And then right after that, it seemed like he was on the sideline for a while, and he had his helmet off when the offense was on. Even if you're not in the game, if the offense has the ball, typically you're going to have your helmet on. You're not going to be sitting there with your helmet off. You're ready to go in whenever you have to go in.
I do want to bring up one thing when you're talking about their chances against the Chiefs that I was looking up here. So you said that balls that they just played the Chiefs, right? 34-31. The Bengals beat the Chiefs. Joe Burrow, 446 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that's a game they barely won over the Chiefs. Are we thinking that it's going to take something similar or close to that for that to happen again?
Well, and if you look, Brady, look at the first half of that game. You probably just have the actual score. The Chiefs got up big time.
Yeah,
in that game.
28-10.
So those passing stats are definitely inflated because they had to come back. But is that something they try and utilize right away? What they find in that defense there that they can maybe utilize? They've got to run the ball. That's what it comes down to. Because if you can't run the ball, you can't protect Joe Burrow because you become predictable. And if they do that against that Chiefs team with Frank Clark and with I'm blanking on his name, 95.
It's Chris Jones.
Chris Jones, yep. With them, they'll eat them alive. So, yeah. Next game's the best game of the weekend.
You think so? Just because the Packers lost, is that the only reason?
Oh, absolutely. As a Bears fan, I have to, yes.
Yeah, no, I'm a Viking fan. I don't know. In my own opinion, I think the Rams.
It was a snooze. No, man, it was a snooze fest. It was a boring game. It was a team by the Niners. What a gutty performance by guys like Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel was out there limping around, playing through. Kittle got hurt early, gutted it out. Even Fred Warner, it looked like he was done the week before with injuries, the way that he got rolled up on. He was out there making plays.
And Green Bay looked so good in the beginning of that game. Like, it looked like their offense, and it looked like they had no answer for him. Like, I said something to my son. I'm like, dude, like, this looks like this is going to be just a cakewalk. And then all of a sudden,
I was sitting there with my housemates, and our immediate reaction was, wow, Green Bay went down and scored, and 49ers went 3 and out. And even after a possession or two, and the 49ers had like -7 yards or something like that. And my first instinct was, this just shows you that game manager quarterbacks can't win you anything. And that's what I thought was going to happen. And then all of a sudden,
credit to that Niners defense. They only allowed 3 points the rest of that game. And that's, they didn't score an offensive touchdown, which is crazy to win in a playoff game like that. But I really think what may have switched that game up was the fact that they lost A.J. Dillon early. I felt like the Niners were going to try and pound the Niners with A.J. Dillon up front to try and slow down that pass rush. And, man, I was kind of shocked, Obviously, I thought the Niners would play them close. But to win like that, it really seemed like Rodgers is getting a lot of criticism today from a lot of people because he was locked on to, I think they said Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones had like 21, all the targets basically. Yep. I don't know. If I'm Rodgers, I'm throwing it to him too. That's your best player.
Right.
You know,
I'm a little shocked that there wasn't as much to Lazard.
It made me wonder how much they miss Robert Tonyan in that offense. He didn't get talked about, but that guy was making plays for Rodgers every week. And who's their tight end? You don't hear about him.
Yeah, it's DeGuara or whatever.
DeGuara and Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to them, but they weren't putting up the numbers that Tonyan was.
No.
I mean, that Packers defense was lights out. They were lights out. They played a tremendous game. And it just so happened to pair that the one day that the Packers offense wasn't that good, it paired with that special teams unit that's been dog shit all year for them. Mm-hmm. And Packers fans had been holding their breath all year waiting for that ball to drop. And it finally did on the worst time for them.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but that's
football.
any given Sunday or Saturday in the playoffs, man. So
Yep. So now starts the will Rodgers stay? Is he going to go? Will he retire? You know, that talk happened right at the end of that game. We knew that was coming. We knew that was going to happen.
All right, then what's your predictions?
What's that?
If Rodgers does not retire,
a lot of people think he's going to head to like Denver if he's going somewhere.
So who's your prediction right now? If you have to take one team, all of you guys.
I mean, I would probably just roll with the Denver take right now.
Nate?
I'm gonna say Steelers. I think Steelers gonna try to make one more big time run at the quarterback and try to keep that momentum alive. So
he's got some great weapons if he goes there.
Yeah.
Brady?
I'm gonna say the Green Bay Packers because the football gods hate the Chicago Bears, and
I'm just saying if he goes somewhere.
I don't think he's leaving.
No, you've got to pick. He's leaving. We're picking if he leaves.
He's leaving.
I don't know. Denver sounds good, like a good shot. I mean, another one that made sense. In my head was,
I think the Steelers are good. I think Nate's got a good one with the Steelers though too, and I think it's like, you know, it fits a similar mold. Denver kind of does too, but I feel like Pittsburgh has a little bit better receiving core. The Broncos they got some young talent. They got Sutton sitting there. They got Jerry Jeudy. They got Noah Fant. You know, I mean, they got some guys. And then they got that Tim Patrick, who's showing some great signs. You know, they just haven't really had that quarterback that can get them the rock and get them the ball. And that could make a world of difference. These guys could shine, you know. It's hard to say.
Aaron's constantly been asking for more weapons, right? That's his issue in Green Bay. Yeah. And he held out and kind of got Randall Cobb there this year and just absolutely no show on Sunday. I don't even think he had one target the entire day.
No, he didn't.
I would say I was just looking at the game and all but 2 targets.
Yeah, but I think Cobb was one of those guys that wasn't healthy coming into the game, really.
Yeah.
And
again, too, we got to remember the weather, man. The weather just shitty. It was snowing. It was fucking blowing. Like, I mean, we talk about it like sometimes weather's not the craziest factor, even when it's not that great. It just kind of really depends on what it is. But I don't know, man. I think different temps change a little bit of the whole outlook on the game. Probably both sides. I mean, to be honest.
If he leaves, I'm taking Indy. Indy's the team that I think he goes to. I just think but I think if you go to Denver, you play Mahomes twice and you play Herbert twice a year.
Why doesn't he want to do that? Doesn't he want to continue to show like he says it on the McAfee show? You know I'm the guy that likes to go out and go against I don't remember what his wordage. You probably know it better than I do because that's your boy you love watching. But he's always talking about showing up.
Well, I will say one thing that goes into his view upon leaving is the Packers are in a very serious cap crunch right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have pending free agent Devontae Adams, who obviously they can franchise tag and probably will so that they don't lose him for nothing. But when you couple all those things with another disappointing year in Green Bay, I obviously was joking around by saying that I think he's going to stay there because the Bears never win in anything. I find it harder and harder to believe that he's willing to sign up for another year of this, depending on what cuts they're going to need to make to the roster. And two, if they can't have Devontae committed there and they sign him to a 1-year franchise tag, I think Aaron, who might thinks he probably is like, I'd rather go take 2 or 3 years somewhere else and see if I can't do something somewhere else than to try to keep the band together for an extra year because we're going to try to run it back.
Or is he going to pull a Brett Favre and go to Minnesota?
Out of the division, please.
Oh,
I'd be so pissed off.
Oh,
I'd be so pissed.
Following Favre's footsteps. Let me just
swap him and Cousins and somehow Cousins.
Let me just. I'm so pissed off at these guys already. Let me go piss them off a little bit more. Oh man, that would be a shot. All right, I think we kind of discussed a good amount on that. You guys
do the Niners? All right, leading into it, the Niners playing the Rams.
Well, we gotta get into our prediction, but we gotta do that if we get to the games, or unless you want to do them right now.
I mean, but leading into it, the Rams obviously played Tampa Bay. What were your thoughts on it? That game should have been a blowout multiple times. That Bucs defense.
But Cam Akers decided to keep them in the game.
Well, but credit to the Bucs defense too, though. They held tight for a long time.
But I don't honestly. People saying that the Rams defense collapsed. I don't agree with that 100% because
I'm at the Bucs defense, not the Rams.
No. I know. What I'm saying is people were saying the Rams defense started buckling. Let's think about this game script wise. They get to when did Cam Akers when was his first fumble at the 1 yard line? And they were punching him in the mouth hardcore. But when did he do that? That was in the second quarter?
Yeah. I think so.
Right before half.
Yep.
It was right before halftime. And the score at halftime or right before that happened was what?
It would have been 27-3 at that point in time.
If he would have scored, or if so you take that from where it was at, you take away that fumble at the 1, and you gotta say that they're more than likely punching it in the way that they were playing. They get to the 1 yard line. I mean, anything could have happened, right? It's not a guarantee. We all understand that. We know that, but that was a huge momentum swing. And then things start going in the Bucs' favor, and Brady does what he does, right? And everybody's tweeting early on, Brady's going to do what he does, and we're all waiting for it because we all know we've seen it a million times. It's not going to be a surprise really to anybody because he's that good. He's basically the GOAT. And then they have a chance to basically get that first down and run the clock out. And what does Akers do again? He fumbles.
Yep.
I mean, I feel sorry for Akers. I would hate to be where Akers was during that game after that first fumble and especially after that second fumble, because if they would have lost that game, I don't know, man. The amount of attacks that would have been coming at Cam Akers from people would have been absolutely insane. Not to say you blame it all on one player, but fumbling at the 1 yard line, about to punch it in before half, and then fumbling it to do that drive to kill the clock to win the game, and giving it and turning it over to the best quarterback to do it, right? I mean, yikes. Yikes. So then Brady comes back with his magic, and then Tom T's boy, Matthew Stafford, just decides I'm going to finally get the monkey off my back and hits that past the cup. And bam, man. Wow. Absolutely insane. Awesome game. Such a fun game to watch. I mean, the Niners Packers was, I think, the boringest game of all of them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, the Bills and Chiefs, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I only caught the first half. I had tweeted before the first game started that I said, if I can stay awake, I got Tom T's notifications on lock for all the Stafford tweets for whenever he messed up, because he likes to take shots. And I made it all the way through the game, and then I made it through the first half. I was so burnt out. I was so tired. I was laying in bed watching that game, and I literally passed out. I woke up. I passed out. It had to been around halftime, and then it was like 10 o'clock when I woke up, and I was like, I thought it was the next day. And I was like, look, and I'm like, it was like 10 o'clock, and I'm like, holy crap. And then I look at the thing, and I go, OT, holy crap. Like, wow, right? So let's just get into it. Let's talk about the Bills-Chiefs game going into overtime. I mean, man, 42-36. We kind of touched on this a little bit, talking about, Patty Mahomes as Brady's playmaker, which for good reason he should be. They got the W. He had an awesome game. Again, if the Bills would have won, Brady probably would have been saying Josh Allen, right? It's whoever wins that game. I mean, that's kind of where you go. That's who you take. But let's talk a little bit. Nate, why don't you bring up the what you posted in our little chat room? So what did Ian report post today?
Oh yeah, so under the I guess the current overtime scoring rules, so that was implemented in the 2010 playoffs and the 2012 regular season. So there's been 163 overtime games in the regular season. Well, no, 163 overtime games including playoffs. Teams that won the overtime coin toss had a record of 86, 67, and 10, which is a 52.8% of the games. But however, in 11 overtime playoff games, the team that won the overtime coin toss have a record of 10-1, which is a 90.9% of the time. So the only team to lose was the Saints back in 2018 is the Rams. And 7 of those 10 teams that won the coin toss scored the sudden death touchdown in the opening drive.
So the winning percentage of the team winning the coin toss is 90.9%.
Yeah, playoffs.
So a lot of people think that each person, regardless if they get the touchdown or not, like that sudden death touchdown should be changed to where at least the other team gets a shot at the ball. Balls does not agree with that. He is throwing the flag and shaking his head right now. So I want to hear Balls' point on why he doesn't agree with that.
You played the whole game. You had 60 minutes. And my big thing is everybody says it puts an emphasis on the defense. That Buffalo Bills defense was number 1 in the league all year long. All they had to do is make a stop. If you can't make a stop, hold them to a field goal. Then you get the ball back. The NFL changed the rule because it used to be sudden death. Teams would get in field goal range, march out their kicker, kick the field goal, game was over.
Yep.
Now it's if you give up a touchdown. Touchdown is the poison pill. Game over. You lose. You had a chance. I don't think, we want to see the quarterbacks get the ball, but it's a three phases. You have 3 phases of the game. Your defense can't make a stop, you lose. And that's my point to it. If you look at that game, they had the lead with a minute 56 left and blew the lead, got the lead back, and then blew the lead again with 13 seconds. And it wasn't because because of a coin flip. It was because playmakers made plays during that time. And what happens then? So if they score a touchdown, the Bills come right back down and score a touchdown. Then is it sudden death? Are we playing 15 minutes?
I think maybe there's a time. Maybe it's a clock, right? Maybe it's 5 minutes. Maybe it's 5 minutes of play, right?
So what if their first drive takes 5 minutes and they score?
Well, then they burn. If they can control the clock and run the ball and get down the field and burn that 5 minutes
touchdown, the other team doesn't. I don't know, man. To me, it just says
5 minutes. I think it puts an emphasis then, because I think it's going to be hard for a team. It'll happen. I mean, there'll obviously be chances to happen, but I don't think the winning percentage would be 90.9%. I mean, that's not a guarantee, but almost a guarantee.
That's 11 games where, Nate, you said it's what? 100 regular season?
Yeah, your regular season and postseason.
But that's not comparing apples to apples, because
you're talking playoff and regular season.
They're way more willing, and this is the point I was going to bring up.
Competitive game is completely different.
Teams are way more willing to play passive in a regular game where there are 16 of them than they are in a postseason game where their life's on the line. And so therefore
it still makes me feel like it's going to fall back to the mean. It's not going to continue at a 9 to 10 clip.
It's not going to be 90, but I guarantee you it's not 52%. I can guarantee you that. Teams will not give the ball back. They will go for it on fourth down. They will do all sorts of things. They will do different types of plays, different types of strategy in overtime that they wouldn't do in a regular season. Take more risks. My biggest issue with this whole overtime thing is the league is not consistent. And this is why I don't think they're consistent. The entire league is to make the offensive team and players the focal point of the game. Quarterbacks can't be touched. Wide receivers can't be touched, or it's a penalty. You have them marketing all of their quarterbacks. And then you get to the overtime in a postseason game, and you're saying, okay, we're going to let a coin flip decide, and you're not going to see one of the probably top 5 best players in all of football not even get a chance in overtime. I just think that there's not consistency there in regards to how they've emphasized offense. Why wouldn't they do this also? We want to see both these players out there because at the end of the day, yes, they want it to be fair, but it's a marketability entertainment sport. And the entertainment aspect of this is to put the best players out there and give them each an opportunity to go and show off. And whether or not you want to say that they should have done it in 60 minutes, I understand that. But I just want some consistency from the NFL. If this is an entertainment and marketability standard, I want to see Patrick Mahomes go out, and then I want to see Josh Allen respond. And whether or not a 10-minute overtime or something like that, I don't know what the answer is. But that's my question.
I don't know what it is either, but I just feel like I don't know. I mean, regardless, like you each score 36 points in final regulation, 36 points. You each go out and score. This is for everything, the marbles, and it relies on a coin flip.
It doesn't rely on a coin flip. The coin flip just determines who gets possession.
It does, 90.9%. The favorite
that's excluding Patrick Mahomes taking them straight down the field and scoring a touchdown. That's excluding all of that. Like you're saying, when they flipped the coin, the game was over. It wasn't over. They still had to go score.
According to 11 games, 10 out of 11.
They still have to go out on the field, though, and do it. The percentages right now say that that's happening.
Right. But when you score,
why didn't Buffalo make a stop?
When you score 36 points, how are you not going to score another touchdown? Probably when everything's on the line. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's got to be played both ways, or a time limit.
I think if you're
go ahead, boss.
I think if you're Buffalo, you look back. They were so aggressive on that first down drive. What were they doing defensively at the end of that game then?
So that's the point I was going to concede to you. The rules are understandable. The rules are defined beforehand. And what I saw at the end of that game, with those 13 seconds left, was not Buffalo trying to win the game. They were trying not to lose. Their safeties were playing at the 25-yard line. Travis Kelce got to the 30-yard line, and they pretty much said, go ahead. We'll give you a 45, 50-yarder as long as Tyreek Hill doesn't beat us over the top and we lose. And we're willing to go get a coin flip to see if we get the ball in overtime. They were kind of willing to concede that. So I will give you that, Balls, that I think the rules were obviously defined before the game, and you knew what you were playing in overtime. And I hated the way the Bills played that. And we can talk about if they should have squib kicked it and made them use a couple seconds and all of that. But I still think that can all be true, and I can still not love the way that the overtime rules are set up.
Exactly. And then now we get to see Miss Mahomes and her TikTok star brother continue to act like idiots. All right. Yeah, so I want to go back to a defense thing again. I just want to touch on something because we brought this up and we talk about this. I gotta just keep punching the Stafford thing a little bit, just to the Stafford haters or the people that were fans of where Stafford played for 12 years or however many years, put up incredible numbers himself. And, everybody's like, screw Stafford. That was a fan of it. They're that rooted for him when he was on that team. Shout out to a guy like Eloy, who is a huge fan of him, even though he's a Lions fan and he's no longer on the Lions. I know some people say, hey, he did this, he did that, whatever. He betrayed our team. Hey, man, it's football. Players move on. Players go places. It is what it is. But defense, man, you need to have a defense. Like you talking about the stop on the defense, too. That's what the Rams have now. The Rams have that defense. The Rams could keep up with a explosive offense, and they did it.
I
Balls,
think
you got something to say with your confused look on your face?
Hmm.
Oh,
I think the Rams I think the Rams have the best shot to beat the Chiefs. I don't like the 49ers matchup. Jimmy Garoppolo will not keep up with Patrick Mahomes in that offense.
I think Balls is a Chiefs fan now. I think that's what we're getting from all of this. Are you rooting for the Chiefs all the way to win it all again? Do you want to see them win it?
Let's go to our picks next week then. Who you taking?
Hang on. All right, hang on. So let's start first. Bengals at Chiefs. Right now it's 54.5. Chiefs by 7. Who do you got? In Kansas City, obviously. Go ahead, Balls.
I got the Chiefs.
Nate or Brady? We'll go around the horn. Brady.
Give me Joe Burrow.
Nate.
Give me the Chiefs. And the over. I think it's gonna be a pretty high scoring game in Kansas City.
Okay. I mean, obviously, I want the Bengals, but I don't think they're going to beat Kansas City in Kansas City. I mean, if the Bills couldn't do it, I don't see KC or Cincinnati doing it. I'd love to see it. I'd rather see it. I'm not a fan of seeing the same team in the Super Bowl over and over and over again. Let's get some change. Let's have some variety. But that's me. That's my takes. 49ers Niners at the Rams. Now, I want to talk about this point total a little bit too. 46 point total. Okay. We go from the Bengals and Chiefs at 54.5 in Kansas City outdoors. We don't know what the weather is going to be like out there yet. I'm sure they're already keeping an eye on it, but I'm sure it's going to be cold. 54.5, 7-point spread. And you got the 49ers at the Rams in LA indoors. 46 point total, Rams by 3.5.
So the question is on the over or under on that game is how many points are the 49ers defense scoring, because the offense isn't putting any touchdowns up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not no joke. I think that game could be like 28-10. And that's why I think you could see the under hit, something like that.
Why do you think they're not going to score against the 49ers?
No, I'm saying how many times is the 49ers defense going to score? Because
I thought you were talking about the Rams on the Niners. I'm like, what?
No, the 49ers offense, I don't think 2 touchdowns, 14 maybe. The Rams defense is really good, and I just don't. I mean, I understand the game in Green Bay was sloppy, but you still can't convince me that 49ers team has an explosive offense. outside of Deebo Samuel, I don't like anybody on that team offensively. Kittle, I guess, but
Yeah.
Well, balls. Let's hear it.
So
We got you all riled up tonight. I love it. I love it. Let's go.
He about left off Kittle. They're 2-0 against the Rams this year.
Don't care.
They beat the Rams both games.
It's
Don't care.
playoffs
Like-
now, baby.
Yeah, but what are the Rams going to do differently against that defense is the main thing.
Okay, I'll throw it back at you. The Bengals just beat the Chiefs 3 weeks ago. You took the Chiefs. What do you mean?
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. They can score with them. I feel like they can score with them. I feel like the under feels like a better bet than people are thinking.
Oh,
I'm not a big fan of it.
Balls.
But look what that Niners defense did to the Packers. Look what they did to Dallas. Look what they've done against the Rams. They hold pretty good offenses down points wise. Can they
let me ask you this.
them?
Do you think Jimmy Garoppolo can do what Brady did and at least get him back tied up in the game or get it close? Do you think the 49ers are as good as the Bucs?
Do I think they match up pretty well with St. Louis?
Sure.
Or St. Louis. LA? Yeah, I think they match up well.
No. I mean, I'm just asking you, Bucs and Niners, how close do you think those two teams are?
That doesn't matter though. It's two different teams, two different matchups. It's way different.
Yeah, I understand that, yes, matchup wise, but we're talking about like how many more targets, how many more you got the GOAT Brady at quarterback as well, who has the most playoff experience out of any of these guys. I mean, in his at home against the Rams this past weekend.
I don't know. I just feel like
Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go out there and give it hell.
I think
in
with
an indoor stadium where weather it's not 10 below and snow is blowing.
I mean, it plays for both teams, right? It's better conditions for Jimmy Garoppolo too.
Yeah,
he could score. He could score. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners win. They're not my pick this week, but I feel like that team's playing some good football. They're one of the best teams. If you look, I think it's called EPA. It's like earned passing yards per average or whatever. The Niners are in the top fucking 5 or top 10 in that. And that, if you look, Jimmy Garoppolo's up there, and that is based on I saw the stat today. It's based on like average per play and what you get out of your passing game. That might not be all him, but it works for the whole team.
Nate, chime in on this. What do you got?
I think we're just kind of like assuming it's a rollover game, and I don't think it's that. I think it's going to be
a rollover game.
Tight game.
I don't see. I don't know. Nate,
I mean,
what's your take, man?
Okay, so like if I were like to bet this game, I probably would definitely bet the under for sure, because for some reason the NFC West games are always like low scoring games, always like a 17-14, 20-17, kind of game. But I probably would side with the Rams. I like the Rams. The Rams got good just momentum going on. Stafford's playing good ball. Von Miller is coming alive. He got tons of pressure on
he was beast
on Brady yesterday. Him and Aaron Donald were getting havoc in the backfield, so they gave him some momentum. But I don't know what it is with Jimmy Garoppolo, but that man, he wins. Like he could put like mediocre stats, but he's great. Like for the 49ers are great with him, and they're terrible without him. So I don't know what it is with Jimmy Garoppolo, but yeah, he somehow just wins. I guess I don't know. I guess it's just that leader. He provides a spark, or people like the team rallies around him. Like he kind of does remind me a little bit of like Alex Smith in a way. Alex Smith kind of like for the most part, as a game manager, there's a few games that he does go off on, but winner and everything like that. So, but all in all, I think the Rams probably win like a 21-17 kind of game. I think it'd be low scoring. I think it'd be kind of like more towards the end. I think Stafford probably makes a good play to either Cup or Odell and win the game.
Brady, you said you had the points and the under. So where do you see the spread on this as far as what do you see? You're going with the Rams, I know that, but what do you see them winning by?
My guess would be 2 touchdowns.
Oh, okay. So you think it's gonna be a blowout?
I just really struggle with the 49ers offensively, and I understand Ball's talking about how they beat him twice already. Maybe that's me watching the 49ers not at all this year, and then watching them against Green Bay and not seeing anything that makes me even think they have any sort of offensive.
What was the score in the 2 games, even though it has no bearing? It's regular season.
The first week 4 was 31-10, 49ers.
That was in LA or that was in San Fran?
That was in San Fran.
Okay.
Stafford has five picks in the 2 games against the 49ers. So that's something to think of. The other one was 27-24 overtime victory by the 49ers. That was in LA.
So it was OT.
Okay. So 1 under, 1 over.
And what week were these?
The other one was week 13 or 14. I have to pull up their schedule again. It's kind of
did they have any defenders? Did the Rams have any key defenders out?
I'd have to look.
No, I think it was week 17 or 18 they played.
Oh, you're right. It was week 17.
Yeah, it was towards the end of the season.
Yep.
And the Rams had to win because they were playing for the division. Only reason why I know enough about the Niners is my dad and brother are Niners fans. So I've heard enough about them. I think they're kind of like Tennessee. You know, they're going to hang in and be a tough team and keep running the ball and physical. So I just see the under. I mean, I'm taking the Rams. I think they'll win finally. I always say take the better quarterback.
That's my default as well. That's my default.
Matt Stafford's the better quarterback. I'm taking the Rams, but I think it's going to be an ugly, close game.
Yeah, I can see that.
I just struggle to see Matt Stafford didn't sit for 12 years in Detroit to piss away an opportunity like this. I think he's going to ball out. So, and I love the Jalen Ramsey on Debo matchup, which will be interesting. So
Brady has Bengals.
I'm not picking Pat Mahomes. I'm so sick of the Chiefs.
I mean, let's be honest. I don't know. I mean, maybe Ball. I mean, I think Ball's pick is more because the reality is the Chiefs will probably win. Are you really wanting them to win?
I'm unwilling to make that.
Is it just who you think's going to win, or is it who you want to win?
I just don't want to be on the record picking the Chiefs.
If it was who I want to win, I want the Bengals to win just because they haven't been in the playoffs 31 years, and then Joey take them to the bowl. That would be awesome.
That's what I figured. That's what I figured.
I think like I said, I'd take the better quarterback, and the better quarterback's Patrick Mahomes out of those 2. In my opinion.
Well, as of right now, yes.
Well, I will say
a couple more years on them, we'll see where things pan out. And
I will say that I
can get to the Super Bowl and win one ever.
I sat on this podcast last week and was the only person to take the 49ers. Correct? Didn't you guys all take Green Bay? And I said I refuse to take Aaron Rodgers. I will not do it. So hopefully I can go 2 for 2 and refuse to take Pat Mahomes, and the same thing will happen because that would make me very happy.
I think we'd all be happy at the end of the day, obviously.
I hope that happens because then you have to pick either Joey B or Stafford.
Well, I'm taking.
You just go with Stafford because he's at the end of his career. Joey B, they if they can keep things together, they could only improve possibly. We'll see. They could become the Chiefs.
I'm very excited to see the Chiefs
for a 3-4 year run.
I'm excited to see Chiefs versus Bills for the next 10 years. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was one of the things that took away from yesterday. How gifted the NFL is right now with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and to be playing hopefully in multiple AFC Championship games or multiple playoff games over the next couple
And
years.
now you got Burrow that could be in the mix.
I was just gonna say you got Burrow, you've got Herbert out there, you've got a good crop.
Yeah, you still got Lamar Jackson out there. I know he's hurt, but you still got him, and then
Justin Fields.
Hell yeah.
Jalen Hurts. I mean,
so, okay, here's an interesting question that I was talking with my housemates. How much time did Jimmy Garoppolo buy himself with this victory on Sunday? Because Trey Lance is knocking at the door. They didn't spend a first-round pick to have him sit there for 3 seasons.
Do you have his cap numbers or anything like that?
I can look it up.
I'm sure he's got everything. We need anything, he's got it.
I mean, Dave, like I think the only way Jimmy G buys himself more times if he actually wins the Super Bowl this year.
He was digging when Balls was going on about the Niners. I know he was over there trying to dig, looking for something.
Yeah, because
what's that, Nate?
Because like I said, like I think the only way Jimmy G buys himself more times is if the 49ers win the Super Bowl this year. I think, and any short that they still gonna probably ship him out somewhere because they traded so much to go move up to get Trey Lance. Like,
I mean,
like
how
consistent?
I know you said the Niners have some crazy pass number, but how consistent is Garoppolo been? Like when he's played this season.
I just know the record with him is nuts. It's like 700 winning percentage or something like that.
Yeah, when he starts, yeah.
Garoppolo's stats this year: 3,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 picks, 98.7 quarterback rating. So I mean, that's a game manager. That's game manager.
Similar to Tannehill.
Yeah, very similar. I think Tannehill was like 23 touchdowns and 13 picks or something like that.
Yep.
So contract wise, next year is the last year of his $137 million contract. He's $25 million next year.
Okay.
So it could be very much one of those things where he starts the year, and depending on how the season goes, they make this transition. If they go out and he's, they're 5-1, 4-2, or something like that, there's no reason. But they might start making a switch if they lose a couple of the games early.
Have you guys been seeing all that talk about the Super Bowl logo and how they should change it because like the palm trees are all red and it looks like it's like Freddy Krueger like bleeding and stuff? Like there's a bunch of people that seriously were going off about it. I'm bringing it up because it's like been the talk. It's honestly been the talk like about the logo. If you look at the logo, like the California, like in the letter album deals, for the numbers, like the palm trees, they use like red. Like the palm trees are red, so it looks like bleeding. Like it's just like a bleeding thing, like on the actual numbers. Check it out. Like people brought it up, like posted about it. Yeah, here you go. He's
I see it. Yep.
Like
I don't think it looks bad. I mean,
no, it doesn't look terrible, but they kind of got the red deal. Like, yeah, just check out like some of the big wig people out there on like reporters and stuff. They've been.
Shoot. Thing is, like, if you're kind of like big into conspiracy, those kind
they're never that. They're never really that
colors
either. They're never really that great for like a Super Bowl like logo, like each and every year. Like they're never really that creative or that amazing.
Also, that logo is already everywhere. It's already on their gear.
Ball's just high, so he just laughs at everything that I say.
That was just out of the blue, man.
It's not really out of the blue because we're talking Super Bowl. Who's going to the Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl logo. That's all part of the shit. It's part of the talk.
I didn't expect it to go that way.
360. I didn't do a 360 like I'm about to right now and go, hey, we forgot to talk a little bit about the UFC and that if you would have placed a bet on Francis going to a decision, it was plus 6,600. If you bet $1 on that, banking.
You'd have been crazy to bet $1 on it.
Huh?
I mean, no, I know, but like
that's a buck.
I was shocked, and then to hear after the fight that it came out that he went into the fight with a torn MCL and still won.
Yeah. Crazy.
That fight was good. I mean, it wasn't obviously with the heavyweights. You want the knockout, I had a post earlier about the UFC with Dana White. Now there's a big negotiation. It sounds like they may sue Ngannou now because supposedly he was talking with Jake Paul, which is a breach of his contract with the UFC. There was talk of that. I'm not sure of how, how far along that is, but a lot of people brought up the fact that Dana didn't put the belt on him afterwards and didn't show up to the press conference. And Dana White, man, he's a businessman. He's ruthless. He's cutthroat. He understands the game better than these fighters do.
Right.
He understands the game better than these fighters do because right now there is some competition. Dana will tell him, go out, go get paid by Jake Paul and them. Go do that. If you want to, go ahead. But my machine's going to keep churning. He's got the Contender Series. He's got feeder programs. Dana White is, the UFC. He built that into what it is. And he's not going to let Francis Ngannou, Conor McGregor, any of them back him into a corner at some point, even with Masvidal or now with Nate Diaz. There's guys that aren't fighting because Dana will come to him with a number and say, this is what I think you're worth, and this is what you're getting.
Right.
Take it or leave it. And, I hope that they figure stuff out, but if they don't, they'll move on. They've got up-and-coming heavyweights.
So the interesting part of this, right, is that a lot of these guys are using the UFC, for example, as a kind of stepping stone. Because, to be honest, the money is not there in the UFC compared to, you look at Jake Paul and that fight against the guys he's fought, or even Logan Paul against Floyd. Even looking at like Fury versus Wilder, like some of those fights, it's a lot of money.
Well, boxing has always been that way. It's a high ticket.
Correct. And so, just for reference, the $600,000 is what what's it? How do you say his last name?
Francis.
Yeah, that's what he made the other night. That's like chump change to a lot of these guys that do fights outside of the UFC. So I think that,
especially being the champ,
right?
The heavyweight
exactly.
champ.
So I wonder if that's how long. Do you know how long their contracts are? Because what
they all vary. It's whatever they like. Sometimes they'll be like a 3-fight, 5-fight, 8-fight, 10-fight, 12-fight. It depends on what they can agree to and really what Dana and those guys want to sign.
Usually the base contract's 3 fights.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because in essence, right, they're using the UFC platform. A lot of these guys are using the UFC platform.
Of course. Yeah,
and at the time, that's
organization. Fight
right.
game.
At the time, that's a sacrifice they're willing to make, right? That they're willing to make that sacrifice pay-wise to get that visual of being associated with the UFC and having the eyes on them. The issue I think they're having after that is when you see their ability to leave after they've made a name for themselves. I understand Dana being like, no, like you signed a contract with us. Your name's now big because we've put you on our platform and put you in front of X number of people. And now you want to bail and go make a bunch of money that I'm now going to be cut out of. I understand why. He's a businessman. That's why the UFC is what it is. And it's why it's grown to the level it is. Right. But in the same respect, I don't blame any of those fighters that want to go make some bank. So it's an interesting conversation to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you watch the other title fight? Did you see any of it? Or did you fall asleep?
I just watched some highlights. I didn't watch any of the fights or anything.
If you guys want to see a pretty good fight, the Figueroa Moreno fight.
Yeah.
That fight was pretty, I had Fig winning it, but it was a good fight. 25 minutes. They went the full length. Those two need to run it back again. They're so evenly matched. They're number 1 and number 2, in the division.
Yeah.
They should run it back for the 4th because it'll be just as good again.
Yeah, and there's one more thing. We're kind of going back and forth here, but I want to kind of throw a DFS topic in, talking with like the football side of things, because I sent the boys a little screenshot last night going into the final game.
Yep.
I was actually sitting in third place and this was for the Saturday-Sunday slate, both slate, with one game left. Yes, a very high-profiled, supposed to be game. I had Stephon Diggs left. I was sitting in third place. The two guys ahead of me, actually, one of the dudes had Gabriel Davis, which I talked heavily on Sunday morning. Wasn't really heavily on Diggs. As a pay-up, I said I liked Diggs, but I really liked Gabriel Davis. I even talked about it. But I made the mistake, and I want to bring this up and tell you guys this because this is how you create yourself and get better, and this is how you learn from things or from other people. I could have either stayed where I was or moved up one spot and basically profited over $1,000 on just the one contest alone if I would have played Gabriel Davis and left and not Stephon Diggs and just left the salary on the table. This shows you and tells you that you could literally leave $300 or $3,200 on the table in your salary when you're building a lineup, even in these playoff games, and be at the top of the leaderboards. It's a mistake that we make when we have salary left and we see what's there with the rest. We like the rest of our construction, and we decide to take the guy that's the higher priced guy that, well, we think is going to have a pretty decent game. We feel should have a big game. And then Gabriel Davis, which I talked about and I was on, and I was actually heavily on, but I had the money to pay for Diggs, so I went with Diggs. If I would have stayed with Davis, I would have had one hell of a night. I still profited, but it wasn't anywhere near where it could have been. And I could have left $3,000, $3,200 on the table in my lineup, and I would have been right at the top. So just a little thing to throw out there for you guys. I know a lot of you guys that watch this follow and the DFS, play the DFS, are dabbing into it if they haven't already. I know, shout out to my man Hicks out there. He said that he prays the Niners don't win. It'll be a boring Super Bowl if they do, he feels. He's a big-time DFS player. He almost took down a Millie tournament this year. So, yeah. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Balls, you got something? Balls, you got something?
Oh,
No? Oh, you kept muting and unmuting. I thought maybe you were trying to say... Oh, he must have a call or have something he's got going on. He kept muting and unmuting. I had Gabe, but not in my lineups with Mahomes or Allen. Yeah. Did you have Stafford, though? Like, Stafford was a ticket. I had Stafford. I had Kupp. I had Fournette. Who was it? Fournette. I don't know. I can pull it up right now. Anyone else got anything to add or chilling?
Not right now.
You guys good?
Yeah, might tap into those questions.
Oh shit! Yeah. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Tap into those questions.
All right, let me share the screen back up here. So we got to go with 2 weeks, or did we do the questions from the week before?
Yeah,
I can't remember if we hit on those or not. I couldn't remember.
Yep, we did.
All right, guys. So Shaw Racing collects. Hey, Def, Brady, Nate, and Balls. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Great picks again for this week. Lots of great comments and opinions. Thanks for sharing. Our boy Nate says, seeing the Bengals make it to the AFC Championship, are they going to become serious Super Bowl contenders for years to come or just a flash in the past? So this isn't really something we really touched on because he's asking if we feel they're going to be contenders for a while, not just possibly this year or getting into the AFC Championship at least minimum, right?
Yep.
So what do you guys think? I mean, do you guys feel like Brady or Balls or Nate? Yeah, Brady, I guess, or Balls. It was Nate's question.
Feel like
they're going to be contenders for years to come. Are they the new Chiefs and Bills? Are they another team on the block?
I think that they have an opportunity, obviously. I think what we've learned is these windows seem to have the longest amount of time when you have a young, cheap quarterback and can continuously build around him. And I think Joe Burrow has shown, Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert have shown that. I want to say I want to say the Chargers are up there in regards to salary cap for next year. Okay, so right here. Bengals, second most available cap this offseason. Or sorry, Chargers, the second most available cap. Bengals, the fourth most available cap. So this just shows you when you have a young, controllable quarterback, you can build a roster. I guarantee you they're going to add a lot of good pieces to those rosters this offseason. And that's something that maybe the Chiefs can't do. The Bills can't do now that Josh Allen is going to be under his contract. So I think there's definitely an argument to be made that this window for the Bengals and the Chargers and some of those other teams is this next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, if you're saying winning a title, it'd be definitely the next, 3 to 4 years for that window, depending on, what moves they make. But if you're talking long term over the next 10, in that division, they've got as good a shot as anybody, I think, moving forward. Pittsburgh's going to lose Big Ben. They don't really have a plan in place that we've seen. And even if you do go Aaron Rodgers or somebody like that, how long are you going to have that quarterback? If you're talking 10 years, that's a long time, and I kind of think about how long Burrow is going to stay there. That right. I feel like is their window to be competitors in that division, make it to the playoffs, and then be one of those teams year in and year out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling that they're going to be – the Bengals themselves are going to be sitting here being competitive, making playoff runs for the next couple years. They're going to be right in the mix of things. I don't know. Just again, it'll depend on what they add, who they get. Do they pick up someone in the draft that becomes a star, right away that helps even make improvements or push them past or get them to another level if they can't get past this championship game, this AFC championship game, make it to the Super Bowl this year. I don't know. We'll see. So, all right. Man says, hey, brothers, great show as always. What do you guys think about these big-time players in the NBA missing games for rest? It's my opinion that you're not getting paid millions to not play unless you're hurt, especially when you don't play every day. Anyone want to take their take on it, their feelings on it?
I mean, I don't love the fact that people bring up the play every day thing, right? Because they practice every day. They go in and put work. They work out every day. They do all that stuff. They get in the gym every day. That's like saying to the average worker, oh, you didn't do your big project. All the work you do day to day doesn't matter because you didn't go out. And it's just there's a lot more that goes into them being professional athletes than just we see them in the game. There's a lot of prep work and lifting and conditioning and all that stuff that goes in.
Well, that's even the Bulls. The Bulls said they were going to sit DeMar. He doesn't have the choice. They're going to sit him down and rest him because they want to give him a day's worth of rest.
And
sometimes we don't know the behind the scenes of a lot of those things. So it may not always be the player either. It may be the organization saying, hey, long term matters more than tonight.
Yeah. And poor me, all my FanDuel NBA lineups are screwed because I had DeRozan locked in because the news didn't come until after, and I was busy doing this. So, cry me a river, right? Cost me money tonight.
Deafness. I thought that was rule number 1: be locked in up to 5 minutes before the game because there's always.
Yeah, I can't do it on a Monday night when I got a podcast I'm getting ready for. That's the problem. That's the issue. As it is the issue with a lot of things on Monday nights. Hence,
that's DFS, baby.
This is why I used to do those. I used to do the in-depths on Monday nights, and I stopped doing them because my Mondays with my day job are insane, and I get so far behind. I'm running, like I told you guys, I barely could eat or do anything, get the dog out.
So to defend I'm going to defend DeMar and the Bulls just because they're my team. To be fair, the Bulls have had multiple games canceled that have now been rescheduled. They've been completely decimated. So these players that are playing significantly more time And this is the first game all year that DeMar has had for quote-unquote rest.
Yeah.
So I think there's an abuse of this that we can talk about. You have some teams / players that use it pretty often. Anytime that there's a back-to-back on the second night or the first night of a back-to-back, I think teams using it sparingly, especially with other circumstances, I don't see it as a huge issue. But you have to definitely, it depends on the situation, because there are players that literally won't play back-to-backs. Right. LeBron there for a couple of years, a lot of games of back-to-backs, he was just not playing.
Yeah. And like I know like the NBA had like a bigger issue because like I know like a lot of players will like rest like during like a primetime game. So you might say LeBron might rest, or I know Kawhi Leonard was resting a lot. So those like
he couldn't play back-to-backs, but that was due to health. Like that was due to certain things to keep him a long-term, right? Like the whole talking long-term, it's not necessarily like right now or short-term. It's long-term, and I think Bron's been very vocal about he doesn't want to rest. But again, we talk about the organizations and what they decide, like Boul said, them making those decisions on you're sitting tonight or you can play. So
where do we draw the line is my question, right? Because you can't compare it to the NFL. There's 16 games. You're not sitting on a game for rest, right?
Right.
But in baseball, it happens all the time.
Oh,
all the time. If you play
168 games,
100. If you play 162 games, if you play 150, you had a very productive, healthy year, right? So now 82 games, you get 3 or 4 off. Like, where is the line? Just because we say that they don't play every night, therefore they have to be out there. I think it's when you're weighing short and long term goals. Let's be honest. A singular game in the NBA doesn't mean very much. A singular game in the MLB doesn't mean very much. A singular game in the NFL means a lot, which is why people don't rest during NFL games. So
I think the biggest issue with fans and with the people on the whole resting thing, I think the biggest impact it has, or the biggest effect it has, the people that are going to be the most vocal about it are the ones that go to buy tickets to go to a game, expecting or assuming that this player is going to be playing if they're not on an injured report or whatever, and then all of a sudden they find out that day they've already bought the tickets or whatever that so-and-so is not playing, right?
Or he doesn't
to see your player,
or he doesn't punch somebody in the dick before halftime and get booted from the game.
There you go.
Remember when we went to go see Luka play?
Oh yeah oh yeah and Mr. what's his face was in the house down right at the
Mark Cuban was there. Yeah,
Mark Cuban was there. It was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
He got ejected halftime. Oh, that was terrible. Oh well, it was fun. We still got to see him play at least a half. Huddle says, "Good show, fellas. If Jimmy G is not the reason the 49ers lose, so this was before the games, and plays decent against the Packers, does that help increase his off-season value?" Now, this is kind of an interesting question because we touched on Jimmy G, we touched on Trey Lance being there. So where do we sit? Where do we feel? This is a great question by our boy Michael and Mike at the Huddle Card Collection. Where do we feel this puts Jimmy G in the offseason if they move him?
So my first is a tag-along question. Who's going to trade? Who thinks they're a Jimmy Garoppolo 1 year, $25 million away from competing? Because in essence, yes, it could increase his value, but somebody's got to want him, and I don't know who would, right? And also, who's not willing to wait 1 extra year until he hits free agency if it's really that like.
Unless you're like a team like Pittsburgh and you're thinking of Jimmy as a stopgap, right? And you make a trade with the contingency of like, hey, not only are we trading for you, but you're signing an extension to lower maybe even the cap hit. But
what's that cost you?
Right. That's the issue.
Right.
I think honestly, long term, Jimmy would probably be back with San Fran next year. I think they would play it out, let him come back. Is he still under contract or is he a free agent?
1 year, $25 million left.
So, yeah, I think they bring him back, like Brady was saying earlier, and do kind of what the Bears wanted to do with Justin Fields and Andy Dalton in a sense. If there's a point where you can play, Trey Lance, then go ahead. But you still have Jimmy there to have that veteran leadership if he needs to start. The guy's still in the playoffs. If he takes him to the Super Bowl, the only way I see that you move on from him is if you can get a guy like Aaron Rodgers to come there somehow. And I don't know if that's even feasible for him. I think they would have to severely upgrade at that point to make a run.
Guys in the stream, I know you guys a lot of comments and stuff, a lot of good takes and comments and stuff. We'll touch on them once we get through these. I don't want you to feel like we're ignoring you. We're not really supposed to pay as much attention to it, but I'm seeing some good things as we're kind of talking about this stuff and talking through it. So we'll get to you guys after we get through this other stuff and kind of touch on some of those comments. So
he's also a contingency plan, right? They can evaluate Trey Lance during the offseason and see if he can take enough of a step to be the starting quarterback. And if he's not, guess what? You got Jimmy G right there, who's shown he's capable.
Yeah. So right. Yeah. I mean, that was Huddle. That was a good one because we had touched on the Trey Lance side of things and everything else talking through the game. So good call there. How do you feel about our boy Nate sitting on the panel? How do you feel about the hobby mess that's been going on? This is a good topic. This is something good to talk about. I like Nate kind of shoving this in here and kind of punching some people in the gut right now.
Little hobby talk.
The kabooms and the PSA cards fiasco. So, this is really, really, really interesting because this whole the backyard breakers thing and all that, and I hate to give them any more about them, right? Because they've gotten so much publicity and they've gotten so much, and whether it's good or bad talk, that's talk for them. It's bringing them up. It's drawing more attention to them. It's whatever. It's marketing in whichever way you want to call it. But it's interesting because my son actually brought it up this weekend too, and he's not been in the card game for a while. Like, he used to be in the cards years ago, and he's at that age where he kind of was at the same age I was when I kind of separated from him for a while. Just graduating high school, enjoying life, doing my thing, working, whatever. But he said to me, he goes, yeah, Dad. He goes, I watch those backyard breaker guys sometimes because they open, some of the more expensive stuff. And I said, yeah. I said, you enjoy those guys that are scammers? And he said, no, they didn't scam them. And I said, how did they not scam the one kid that was supposed to get it? From what I know and everything I've seen, they gave away that box. Was that correct? You guys follow me here? They said that box was to be given away to the guy who won the box. They then opened the packs for the giveaway winner, and because they pull a 10K card, they're not giving it away. So my son sees it that way because he says, no, and I said, I don't think you've watched enough about it. I don't think you watched the whole original stream. I don't think you've seen it. And there's also the dude now, they turned it and did a giveaway on Twitch to give that card away. And the guy that actually won it was actually somebody who had been muted or banned on their Twitch stream to begin with because he was originally talking smack. But now that he won the card, everything's fine and good. So what are your guys' takes on this? What are your guys' feelings on this?
So I have an interesting take on this, and it's because one of my housemates is not really into cards. He's gotten some cards from when he was younger, and so me being back into cards, he's kind of been in the background, listening to me talk about the hobby, talking about, he's heard about your auctions and all that stuff. So he found these guys on Twitch because he watches a lot of Twitch. So he kind of showed me these guys. Yeah. And the first thing that I noticed was these are not like normal breakers. First of all, these are 20-something-year-old kids that are opening tens of thousands of dollars worth of product. And then as I watched them more, they give away so much product at the end of all of their breaks to anybody that quote unquote doesn't hit. And it didn't make sense to me because I was thinking about it, I was like, how are these 20-year-old kids afford all this, whatever? And we kind of did the math on one of their big breaks, and they mark up so much their product, and then I'm sure they have a percentage of what, okay, we're going to mark it up so much that at the end we can give away some extra boxes to the people that didn't win, and they feel like we're taking care of them beyond our normal profit. No, it's built in. Those extra boxes that they give away, that's built into their overhead cost. So they understand, and however you want the image to look, they understand, okay, we're making $3,000 on this. We understand we're going to give away $1,000 in boxes at the end, so we're making $2,000. So that's the image that they portray is you didn't hit in our break. Okay, we'll eat into our profit to give you guys some extra boxes. So that's what they've portrayed in their audiences and how they've portrayed what they do on Twitch and all of this stuff. So from my understanding what the situation was, they do two things. If you're a Twitch subscriber, you get free packs, or at the end of breaks, they give away free boxes. And that was what this was a free box where the guy hit a really big card and they said, well, we can't give him this, blah, 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 blah. I just don't understand. Your loss is the price of the box, right? It's not the contents that you pull out of it. So if you're giving away a $300 card, or a $300 box, your loss is $300.
Right.
If you hit a 10K if the guy hits a 10K card out of that, you didn't lose $10,000 because in essence, they don't rip that stuff for themselves. It would have been just ripped by someone who buys the box for $300.
Exactly.
So they wouldn't have profited either way on this box of cards. So in essence, they were just trying to make extra money for themselves. And that's the biggest issue that I have with the entire thing.
And Brady, that $300 or whatever cost is probably isn't even that their cost. It's probably much less than that because of how much they buy in bulk.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to hear Balls. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, Tony Montana said it best, man. All I got is two things in this world: my balls and my name, and my word, like Brady said, $300. If that's what that box costs, that's what they put their reputation on. That's how much their reputation cost to them was $300 because they blew it with a lot of people in the card community with that. They're still going to have people that hang around and do stuff, but they went into PR mode 101 right away because they understood they messed up. And I would just say, the hobby can be what you want it to be. You determine that. You determine your interactions, how you respond to things, your actions to it. And, surround yourself with like-minded people because they would have never popped on my timeline ever in my life, at least.
Mine either.
That's nothing against you, Brady. I know they got brought up, but it's just one of them things that it's like you surround yourself with good people in the hobby, and if you do that, your name will carry for yourself.
Yeah. So, but even Brady said like the family member, whoever found them, like into the hobby stuff and just getting on Twitch, and it just shows recommends on Twitch. So if any of us were on Twitch and we were looking at sports cards, and we were getting in it enough and watching those words, or you checking or searching, and what you're doing is going to start populating recommended. So you're going to run into it anyway. Like if you're in Twitch, which I know you're not. So my big thing on this is I just don't understand. Like this is a type of card in that you did in a box giveaway that if it would have went to that rightful owner, could have been a much bigger marketing thing for the business, doing it the right way than it even turned out to be. Some people say, oh, but everybody talked about him. So in essence, right. But how bad it ruined their reputation to a lot of people. Some people disagree they say they did the right thing. Some people don't know the whole story. Some people don't look into the whole thing. Some people that say that no, they're doing the right thing, tell other people, oh, you've only watched the 20-second clip, when in essence we've all watched the whole thing. So I don't know where the miss is there. But like Ball says, man, make the hobby, make the hobby what you wanted it. And it's like I say, man, you are who you walk with, right? Who you surround yourself with, who you associate with, who you hang out with. Parents used to always tell me, man, you're who you walk with, and it reflects, because people have an impact on you, whether you believe it or not, if you hang around them long enough. So
the interesting aspect of that you bring that up, Def, is that so I watched them for a little bit because my buddy, they rip some in very high-end product. So
yeah, that's why my son said he liked to watch them, because they rip the high-end stuff typically.
Right. So the interesting thing, though, is that they did that marketing for other cards. So, for example, they had a person who breaks with them, a decent amount. He hit a Kyler Murray 1-of-1 RPA with the Arizona flag patch in it. And they flew him down to Miami, I think is where they're located, and did a big day and all this marketing thing. And I saw that video on Instagram. So they did that for somebody who bought into a break. And so that's what they were trying to portray. But then you open a free box, and then your immediate instinct is to try to screw the guy out of the card. It just doesn't make sense to me. In my head, I was thinking okay, they're kind of scammy for trying to play up they're giving away all this free stuff. But they did fly the guy down there. He's sitting in the thing breaking with him. That's kind of cool that they do that. And then they hear this pop up and just be like, okay, you had all this, whether or not it was real or fake, you had this good kind of image you were getting out there of we take care of people, we fly them down if you have a big card, and then completely offset that over money and over this single card. It was interesting to see this completely different dynamic in their idea space marketing.
The Island Boy box breakers.
Yeah.
Island Boys box breaks. Let's go. All right. Let's get through a couple more, and I see a lot of cool comments, and I got some interesting stuff we touch on here before we get out of here. I know everybody wants to dip at some point. Let's get
one
through
more
this.
thing. One more thing, definitely with scandals. Did you guys see the PSA one?
I haven't really seen a lot on it. When did this pop up?
A week ago, maybe. So there's this guy who
probably when I was in Florida.
He does PSA submissions, and pretty much he's been.
Oh yeah.
He's been arrested. He's been getting loans in order to, he had a bunch of people submit cards to him, and he submitted them to PSA, right? So he has a ton of money coming in from all the people that are submitting PSA cards. Well, with PSA, you don't pay until after the cards are graded, correct? Right. So when the bill came for him to pay for all these cards, all of the money he invested in himself, his business, his card shop, and everything was now gone, and he's filing bankruptcy. But now all these cards
Toby is talking about. Okay.
All these cards at PSA now are not paid for, right? If this guy's filing bankruptcy, he's not paying for those cards that are left at PSA. So now all these people that sent him cards are now out those cards because they're stuck at PSA. And on top of that, another big card person wasn't very honest with that also did PSA submissions. Mm-hmm. He kind of portrayed that he was sending them himself, but actually he was sending it to this guy, and this guy was sending it. So now there's two big PSA submission groups that are now tied up in this guy's bankruptcy claims. Which is why.
Yep.
And there was some dishonesty because he kind of portrayed that he was submitting them himself, and he was actually using the guy that ended up going bankrupt. So it's a big debacle, but that's why.
Can we go back to the days where there wasn't graded cards? Can we just eliminate the whole grading thing? You can go back to what the hobby's really it used to be about, and just
the 90s.
Yeah, well, I mean, cards have always been being graded, but the grading thing has really just taken off in the last when the boom hit.
Past couple of years with the pandemic, people been getting everything graded, cards,
it wasn't as big of a thing. I mean, the only time you would hear talk about a graded thing is like before all that craze ever happened or went on with the hobby a couple years back when people started sending everything in. But before that, it would be like there would just be a random someone would pop up with this crazy pop one LeBron or Michael Jordan card or whatever. And it was like, oh, cool. But it never really, it was just like, cool, man. That dude's got an insane card. Like that thing's graded. It's authenticated. It's whatever. But it just didn't really expand out. Like people weren't really still like, oh shit, well, let's just go get a bunch of stuff graded like it is now. It's like everybody pulls base cards. We rip open Topps Update and any base rookie card. If it looks good, we're gonna send it into PSA. Any card. No, well that's Robert though. But I'm saying any card. Like here, let's.
I mean, look, here's Kyle Lewis. If you want to more.
Well, no, but like, let's be honest. Jake Junis, I've bought graded cards of his. I don't know what people were, and that's no offense to Jake, but like, I don't know why you'd send his card in to be graded unless it was like a 1 of 1.
Yeah, like it's just like Dev said, like pretty much like people would pull like any rookie card or any like number card and try to get it graded. And
Michael Bush, first Bowman paper card. There's people out there that got him graded. I guarantee it. You go look, people got him graded. Why? And this is why PSA is so boggled down. And this is why if you really would have a card that maybe would be nice to actually just have graded and have put away in a collection or something that's like an actual rarity card, you still, unless you pay an arm and a leg for speedy service, which still isn't speedy within the time. Otherwise, you're waiting a year plus to get it back because of all of this silly send this stuff off and get it graded. And it's all just to make a buck. $1.
Yep.
And how many times do you see people selling these slabs, these low-end slabs, for way less than what it costs to grade them?
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
So how much is really being benefited unless it's an actual worthy card of some real value that it just increases it that much because it's authenticated, graded, whatever, showing it.
I do think we're coming to the end of that though. Right, with the increased print runs with a lot of these products.
I can't wait.
With the PSA being closed and the price increase in grading
that's what's really burned me out of the hobby, to be honest with you, man. Like I'm not saying slabs in general. I'm just saying not taking any and every card that's pulled because that's what some people do, man. It's like send the stuff in that has the meaning of getting it done that you feel is really worth doing.
To play devil's advocate though, the amount of cards that were worth grading at $8 a piece are not the same cards that are worth grading at $20 a piece. So when I first got into the hobby, not the summer of 2020, I sent in a bunch of Anthony Rizzo rookies that it cost me $8 a piece to get them graded. And like, okay, cool. Like a PSA 10 I got, it's $100 card now. But like if I wanted to send in a Christian Hernandez first Bowman, I'm not paying $25 to get that thing graded. I'm not doing it. Like, so that's why I think it is changing.
Right. All right. Let's pop in. We got a couple more comments off the last week's video, and then we'll hit up some of these comments that are in the live stream. Give them a little love. Nate's got another one in here. We kind of touched on it earlier a little bit, kind of hinted at it. Is Joel Embiid the MVP favorite to you so far? If not, who is? ? For NBA. Balls, Brady?
I would think Joel's up there. Jokic is up there. If I had to go with one right now, I'd probably do Joel just because he's literally carrying that team. Everybody else is, there's some other players on other teams. So like DeMar has Zach and Vooch and Clay, obviously. Steph obviously carried that team for a while, but he got Clay back now. So, who else is there in Philly that's really putting up numbers at a decent clip?
I guess Tyrese Maxey. Tobias Harris been underperforming, but yeah, it's pretty much been Maxey. Sometimes Steph Curry, but he's been hurt. So yeah,
And then you got your boys like you got your deep guys like Frank. What's his name? Korkmaz. He'll have like that game just once on a blue moon that he'll just pop off like at minimum salary, like just a big pop off game. Take down attorney somewhere. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting though because I think the NBA really only allows like one big man to be the forefront. So it'll be like who plays better down the last little bit, Joker or
Joker. Yeah.
Because in essence, they'll put up them against like Giannis or Curry as like who they think the MVP is.
Yeah.
I would have a hard time thinking that they'll be like advocating for both Jokic and Joel. They want one of the guards in order to be able to put up there as their MVP favorite.
Yep.
All right. Last comment on the deal. We touched on this already. After the big loss, Aaron Rodgers asked out of Green Bay. I think we all agree or think that he's probably going to be gone. Like, there's no sense, there's no point, whether he retires or he goes off somewhere else. Nate touched on Pittsburgh. Balls kind of felt maybe Pittsburgh, Denver. Brady, what was the other? You brought up one other team. I think we were talking about it earlier. Or was that it? Was it Steelers?
Denver? I brought up Indy.
Huh?
I brought up Indy.
Oh yeah, you brought up Indy. Yeah, you brought up Indy. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Balls said he thought maybe Indy. So it'll be interesting to see where they roll with it, where they go with it. I want to go back. I got to figure out where I started seeing some good stuff. We started finally getting some. We need this like early on and continue throughout the stream. Like people showing up towards the end. They must just come for the NFL talk. But, all right. So I'm going to start like kind of right here. So Joe Mann said, this is when we're talking about the rest games. And he says, so just say a guy here, let me get the share thing off so we can like post these on the deal too. All right. So he says, and not block anyone, but he says, say LeBron rests 20 games all year and the Lakers lose those 10 games and those losses cost you a playoff spot.
I mean, yes. But that's interesting. Is he talking about a playoff spot like they
that's
don't?
Why when I saw it, I was like,
Is he talking about playoff spot as like they don't make the playoffs or they just go down a spot? Because
I mean, you could look at it either way. I mean, really, right now, because even as this is perfect for LeBron and the Lakers because they're sitting 8 right now. They're actually below my Wolves.
Yeah, but
I think 20 games is a lot when you're talking 80, 82 games. Yeah. You're talking quarter of the season.
Right.
If we bump that down to 10 games,
right,
and they lose 5, and that cost them a playoff spot.
Right.
So, okay, so what is that normal record then? They go 7-3 or 8-2 as opposed to 5-5. I mean, it just kind of depends, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Is it
so, but honestly, I don't think LeBron's resting this year, right? Isn't he come out and said he wants to play as much as possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says he doesn't want to rest. And that's like Balls touched on earlier. Usually that's management or somebody saying, you're going to rest. You know, we need you. We need you healthy late in the season. We need, et cetera. So
matchups don't matter as much with LeBron and the Lakers as much, though, right? They just want to get in the playoffs and be healthy. They don't really For other teams, it obviously means more. For example, there are teams.
They got the whole Westbrook cabal.
Right. There are teams that specifically I don't want the Bulls to play, so maybe a game or two means something. But in regards to the Lakers, they don't care. They have to beat everybody at some point, anyways. So,
like I've said before, I don't think Westbrook fits the mold. He's got to be on a team where he's like the only guy, like the main guy. So he can do his triple doubles every night and whatever. And, I don't know. I don't see him. I don't see him ever winning a championship in his career. I don't think he'll ever be on a team and fit that mold to do it, but we'll see. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Let's see. I hope the Chiefs. Rip says he hopes the Chiefs win so as Mahomes' rookie increases in value. Baseball teams play 10 to 12 games in a row sometimes. That is correct. Yep. Let's see. That's
why I was bringing up where's the line, because every league's so different, right?
Right.
NFL is not the same as baseball.
Obviously.
The NBA is somewhere in between. It's just whether or not are we okay with 5 games sitting out? Are we okay with 10 games sitting out? It's just interesting.
Right. Joby says, can we get Chef Balls like a small electric heater for his podcast home? Poor guy is fucking freezing.
I do have a small heater right underneath me.
All right.
It is cool in Illinois tonight.
I have a stack of Burrows. I have a stack of Burrows rookies, numbered short prints, parallels, and yes, they will increase in value, but I prefer 2 Super Bowl wins over 1. Too bad I don't have any Brady rookies. The Rips, too bad. Where else? Where else was it? Nobody works for free. Take a loss everywhere is profit. And he's touched on that. Thanks, Nate. I think we're all talking about the goofy backyard guys. Tomato knowledge just seems like giving you guy must small 50. We might be caught up. I guess I thought there was something else I saw there, but I might be missing it too. Oh, Mans did say too on if you're gonna grade vintage. So, as far as grading goes, But again, don't just grade every comment from a 67 or 70 baseball set, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
some people do that.
People do it, but again, if it's a high numbered where they have crazy value and they're rare, sure, of course, but not a $2 card or a $5 card. It's kind of silly. So I think that might be it, guys. I think you guys got anything else for us? I think we can close it up. We are over the 2-hour mark actually. So again, last go around. Brady, your 2 teams to represent the Super Bowl.
Bengals, Rams.
Nate?
Go Chiefs, Rams.
Balls.
Rams, Chiefs.
And I want to see Bengals, Chiefs, but I feel like the Chiefs are going to beat the Bengals, obviously, in KC. I just don't see it. The one, huh?
Say that again.
I said I would love to see the Bengals, Rams, but I feel the Chiefs are going to beat the Bengals. So Chiefs and them. There was 1 comment or 2 comments, so I must have missed it. Hang on. This is touching on the Bengals thing, and Rips or somebody brought this up. Why can't I find it now? It's almost like he made it disappear. Here you go. This is what I was looking for. The Bengals are getting way more. This is from Rips to Slabs earlier on. The Bengals are getting way more hype than they deserve. They beat the Raiders from a controversial play. They barely inched by the Titans. So far, it's not sheer talent that's driving them.
Just win, baby. It's the playoffs.
My first instinct was you can only beat the teams in front of you. So we will see this weekend how real they actually are, and then maybe we can reevaluate how much they deserve.
And he also said a lot is timing, luck, chance. They have a 10-7 record, and they are vulnerable. The Chiefs will walk all over them. That's coming from Rista Slabs.
I will say they have been very up and down. They lost to the Bears, they lost to the Jets, and then they go out and beat a couple playoff caliber teams. So,
right, like any team, right? We talk about this like throughout the season, the regular season. There's always that surprise of the week. How the hell did that happen? How did that team come by and get the W, right?
And I'd rather have an ugly win than an ugly loss any day. So, however you can get them this time of year, they're 1 of 4 left playing for a title. Who cares how they got here?
No, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I think all of us on the panel deep down would love to see the Bengals there, but we just not all of us feel that it's going to happen, right? So, guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us again tonight. A little over 2 hours of hearing us blab and talk. Please get your comments in once this gets uploaded. We're just kind of losing it, man. We started getting up there. We got like 20, 25, almost 30, I think, a couple weeks, and then we just kind of fell off. So show us some love. Give us some stuff to talk about at the end of the podcast so we can continue to want to move forward with this. So, all right, you guys all have a great night, and we will see you guys next week. Good luck to those teams out there this coming weekend. Take care.